This is the Warriors Tackle Supply XL for September. New generation of tackle. Pretty cool company. They have some of their own gear. And you get some big name brands like Lunker Hunt, Rapala or Rapala, whatever you want to call it. Another awesome bait from them. Square bill, you know that's gonna catch fish. Bruiser bait, chicken frog, little topwater buzz toad kind of gig. A little sticker, pretty cool. And then we all know these catch fish. KVD, perfect plastic. This is the bullworm. It's in a plum color. These are sick. We'll talk about them in just a second though. I don't know what happened, but something happened to my light. Alright, well this is their brand of a rattle trap. It's the Warriors Tackle. Says it right on top. This is called the Red Vibe bait, I think. It retails for $7.99. That's their cost on their lure. And you know, a lot of these companies, they have cheap knockoff, the dollar type lipless baits and stuff like that, but these actually have pretty stout hooks. It looks like a good split ring. You know, normally these are, the eyelets are painted over and they got gunk all over them and they feel like cheesy split rings and cheesy hooks, but these actually feel pretty quality. I'm a little more impressed than I was expecting, not gonna lie. But good rattles. Just throw this thing out there, crank it back. I like the color. This one's better probably on the bottom than in the upper water column with the rest of the bait fish. But you know, sometimes it's cool to be the different bait fish that'll make them bite it. If it was me, I would be throwing 10 to 12 pound fluoro or mono and using a medium heavy cranking stick just so you can, you know, get a good cast out. A lot of people like to use braid and throw these into grass, and if you're using braid, throw a heavier rod, that way you can snap it out of grass real fast. You get a reaction strike that way. But again, super good bait, definitely catches fish. Next up is another Warriors Tackle Supply bait. This one's called Black the Blue, I think is the name of the square bill, but it's Warriors Tackle. It's got a little one knocker kind of thing in it, or it may just be the weight transfer. Black and blue matte square bill, so it's not real shiny and glossy like the little Vibe one is. I don't know if you can really tell, but it's not as shiny. I'm actually really stoked about this lure. I've been wanting to get a black and blue, and I know 6th Sense makes one, but you know, I think this one will probably do just as good. This is dive probably 2 to 5 foot depending on your line size. Go anywhere from, again, 10 to 17 pound test. On this one you can do a shorter cranking rod just so you got more accurate casting ability. The longer the rod, the further you're going to cast it, but you can't really throw it up tight to structure like you can with a little short rod. But just for general purpose, probably 12 pound mono, and I have a 610 cranking and square bill jerk bait rod, so that's what I'll be throwing it on. Bang it off of rocks or any structure and hold on. You're going to get slammed on this thing. And with it being black, it's actually good for clear, clean, dirty, murky, muddy, any kind of watercolor. But a lot of people say that black shines more in dirty water, but you know, I tend to think it's good in clear water too. But everybody has their own opinion. Just try it out and see where you like it. Next up is Bruiser Baits Chicken Frog. It's in like a summer crawl color. You can either go belly weighted swim bait hook, or just a regular EWG hook. If you go belly weighted, you can reel it a lot faster above water. If you go weightless, you can reel it slow on top of the water. Also with belly weighted, if you order, you know, Texas rigged, you can let it go down and it'll just kick as it goes down into the water and displace water, and that'll get you bites. But a lot of people, you know, they love top water, and this is probably where this bait shines more, is on top water. So give it a try. Heavier rod, if you're throwing on top water, use mono or braid because fluoro sinks. And if you're throwing it Texas rigged under, I wouldn't do anything less than 15-pound fluoro, or, you know, 20-30 pound braid at the lightest. I like 50 to 80-pound braid, but everybody's different. I would definitely be trying these out though. Okay, so I got a confession. Whenever I first seen the list of what was coming in this box, I was like, oh great, another Rapala or Rapala jerkbait. Not that you can have too many, but I almost have too many. This little bitty thing right here is one of those, if you're having a horrible day on the water, tie this on and at least you're going to get something. It may be a brim, bluegill, crappie, sunfish, perch, whatever. You're going to get bit. But the cool thing about it is you are definitely going to catch fish. You also have the ability to catch monster bass on something this small. It's really light. Let's see if we can find the info on it. The color is purple decent. The weight is 1/16 of an ounce. It's 1.5 inches long. So, and it's made of balsa wood. I don't know if anybody has tried balsa wood, but Bagley Baits and a few other use balsa. So it's wood instead of a plastic bait. No rattles or nothing in it. It's just a really cool jerk bait. This thing is gonna get flat out bit. Throw really light lines, 6 to 8 pound test, somewhere in there, on a really light spinning setup. I love this thing though. You can bet your bottom dollar I'll be throwing it. Next up is the 10-inch bullworm by Strike King. Some people think this thing is absolutely pointless, or they're appalled by it. It's huge, yes, but if you stop and think about an earthworm or a night crawler, whenever you first pull them out, they are every bit of, you know, 6 or 8 inches. So you got snakes that are that big. I mean, bass will eat this. And I know you think it's only going to catch big fish. Wrong. This thing will catch anything from 1-pounders to 10-pounders. I mean, even though it looks big and can be kind of intimidating, don't be intimidated. You can Texas rig it, throw it on a shaky head. I mean, there's countless options of how you can fish this. You can fish it on the bottom, you can fish it through the water column. I mean, I love this. This is probably one of my most favorite worms by Strike King. And it's got a cup on the tail, so it's real hollow. It should displace a lot of water good too. I'm out of room, so I don't know if I got to finish talking about this, but this makes it float. It makes it spit a little bit of bubbles and stuff like that too as it's going down. But again, yes, it's a huge worm. You know, you can bite it down to 6 or 8 inches if you're too intimidated by the 10-inch worm, but people have been catching fish on 10-inch ribbon tails and 10-inch shaky head worms for years. So please don't be intimidated, and please go throw this. You will definitely get bit and have a chance of catching a fish of a lifetime. Next up is another super sick bait. Lunkerhunt Dragonfly. Okay, so I was fishing my little local pond and I seen the fish busting on stuff and I could never figure out what it was. I got to paying attention and it was dragonflies. So I went and bought anything that I could think of to imitate dragonflies and never could get them to bite last year. Well, this year I found one of these. It was a yellow one. Bought it, threw it out there. Nobody else around me could get bit. I was getting smashed on a flippin' dragonfly. Now this thing is only 1/4 of an ounce and 3 inches, but the body of it, it's a real rough rubber kind of, and it's almost elastic or stretchy like the Z-Man stuff is. It comes with a hook. You put your own hook into it, and the cool thing about it is this body won't tear because of the integrity of the rubber or plastic, whatever you want to call it. But when the dragonflies are breeding or whatever they do and they get on top of those thick mats and you can't throw anything except for a Cinco over there, all you have to do is throw this thing out and literally twitch it once, let it sit. Twitch it, let it sit. And out of nowhere, you will just get wrecked from, again, anywhere from 1 pound, 4, 5, 6 pound bass. I mean, any kind of fish or all sizes of fish were eating these in the pond. I couldn't believe it. It was like magic. The bite turned on. Nobody else could get anything to hit, and I caught 4 or 5 while everybody else was throwing everything they had. And they were throwing topwater lures also. You know, they were throwing frogs and little, actually the Lunker Hunt froglet. It looks like a little spook by Lunker Hunt. It's pretty much is a weedless spook. Don't have treble hooks. It's got a double jig hooks. But again, you put whatever hook you want to on here. You can put a little beefier hook if you wanted to. That way you have a little more weight to throw it out if you wanted to throw it out with a bait caster set, because you do have to set the hook. And hold on, I'm gonna rig this real quick. So I rigged it by going through the nose, and I came out right underneath where the slot is. Let me push it on through real quick, hold on. By doing that, it met perfectly with the line tie, and then the hook sits on the body perfect and it's straight. You got the little black line on the back to line up with. But something I learned was you're not going to set the hook through this piece of rubber. It's too thick. And this back on this thing actually works as a weed guard. So if you're throwing it through the thick stuff, you can pretty much count on getting it back, because the body's going to hit and then it'll just roll over. I mean, I got to push down to get it to pierce my thumb, but when something actually bites it, it gives away pretty good. Also, you can stick like just the point back into the rubber, like Texposing it, if you wanted to, and then you don't have to worry about the hook point getting anything. Again, this is the Warriors Tackle Supply Company. The price on the box is, I think, $26 or $25. You can see my total was $40.25. You get good gear. I mean, all of this stuff is proven. Some of these things you don't see in local stores. So, pretty cool stuff. Again, check them out. Thank you. Tight Lines.